So guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the dreaded garage update, a video that I sometimes try and shy away from because of course I like not necessarily selling cars, but I like loads of cars. So the fact that I have to sell some sometimes to make room for other ones is one of those things that sometimes maybe on the internet people don't like, and I appreciate that people like consistency, especially in garages and car collections or whatever. This is just an array of random cars together, but we're going to update you guys on every single car, what's going on with them, maybe build process, all that sort of stuff. But we do have 3 of the 5 cars that I currently own sat at home right now. But as ever guys, make sure you like this video, leave a positive comment below, because remember guys, a lot of people way back when went in on me when I sold my D100 pickup truck, and I said please sit back, understand the process of what I do, which is vlog or at least show my life with cars. Maybe sometimes we have to sacrifice one to get into another. And remember when I sold the D100 and everyone went insane, like literally the comments were insane, and then I bought a Series 1 RS Turbo. So remember that next time you leave a derogatory comment in my comments on this channel, because at the end of the day you need to realize that this is a rotation more than anything. But we'll get on to the first car, which is the M4. The M4 that I've owned for probably 3 months at this period when filming, and I'm thoroughly enjoying driving this car as a daily. We have done quite a lot to this in that small space of time. We've lowered it, put spacers on it, wheels, tyre stickers, wrap, carbon fibre, number plates, smooth the front bumper. We have done quite a lot to this car in this short space of time. This is nowhere near what I believe to be a build or a completion whatsoever, and in fact this car has got a lot more in it. So this is going absolutely nowhere for now. I think the desired idea, and I'm going to be very transparent, is the idea of selling this in mid-August next year. So after the summer months, when we've gone through, you know, and done the car shows and stuff, this will then revert back to a relatively stock form. But I always like to keep you guys in the loop of what's actually happening with what this is in theory a business, and I have to sort of worry about assets and stuff. This is a business asset. This is a car for the channel to make content with, to daily drive, to take my kids to school in. So yeah, the plan is to sort of move on from this in August time. But for now, for this summer, throughout the winter, this is the daily. This is the car you'll probably see me in the most, and you know, doing school runs and all that sort of stuff. This is the car that will be making the most appearances on the channel as well, I think, because it's the one that is out the most. But yeah, update wise, car is fantastic. I'm really enjoying it. Maybe a little bit more power on the cards, not too soon, but I'm really happy with my first M car purchase. And yeah, moving it on in towards, you know, the end of the summer, maybe the end of next year is the plan for this thing. But let me know below, leave a positive comment. This is the positive channel. Leave a comment below and let me know what you would like to see replace this in maybe August time next year. Next up is a very dark garage. I still have not found someone on the Isle of Wight to come and sort my lighting out in the garage. I don't know what's going on, but the Series 1 RS Turbo, I did do a Q&A not too long ago now on the idea of replacing this, and no, it wasn't for sale, and no, it wasn't going to be replaced, and it still isn't going to be replaced. I absolutely love this thing so much that I built, or at least did up my garage just so this could have a lovely place to sit. And at the end of the day, I can't tear myself away from this thing. Every time I sort of lock it up, I leave it to itself, then I come back, I get that buzzy, exciting feeling inside me that, yeah, I've just done the right thing on keeping this thing. Yeah, as you can see, the paint has been done. You guys have seen the paint process, the whole front end being completely teared down, welded up, loads of stuff done, loads of really, you know, money invested into this car this year, and just keeping it nicely running as well, getting servicing items done, just getting everything turnkey drivable, because I want to make sure that I'm able to, you know, pull this car out whenever I fancy and actually go and drive it. And that's what it's become, which is really nice. And now I have it in a really nice environment as well. It can stay locked up ready for when I want to go and enjoy it, which is such a nice feeling. And yeah, I have no plan on selling this anytime soon, if I'm quite honest. I am going to talk about values at the moment, because values is going pretty crazy on these, which is fantastic for an owner, but it's not really at the same time, because you can't come out of one of these to get into a subsequent Cosworth, you know, Sierra Cosworth or anything like that. And I did touch on that on the Q&A, where people were asking me, you know, would you sell this and buy an Escort Cosworth? And I said, well, no, because this is, you know, mid-20s, say, just pulling numbers out of the air, say, Cosworths are 60. That's twice the price, if not a bit more. So, unfortunately, 2 cars, you know, the M4 and that, would actually definitely have to go to make way for an Escort Cosworth. That's not something I'm willing to do, but just putting it into perspective more than anything, because some people still don't understand the values of things, and especially Escort Escort Cosworths, they're getting out of control. They are so expensive. So yeah, for the minute, I don't see anything replacing this in the garage, and there's no point in selling it. There's no point in pulling my investment or, you know, time or whatever out of this car, because I don't think I'd be able to replay this at all in any other car for its money. So yeah, for the moment, as we speak, although everything is open for trades, there is, you know, nothing's for sale, don't get me wrong, but stuff is always happening in the background. People are always offering me cars, and yeah, this is staying, don't get me wrong, but if anybody out there wants to swap for straight for an Escort Cosworth, let me know. That would be a shout, wouldn't it? But of course, that's never going to happen. They are twice the price, and yeah, I'm really happy with the Series 1 in the garage. And you know, going into next year, hopefully we can get this to a few shows. That would be really exciting. Paint the roof and do just some other little bits and bobs to really make it tip top. But yeah, as for now, Series 1 staying. Next up is the Cadillac, my 1966 Cadillac Coupe de Ville. You guys have seen us break down the engine, and I sort of put it out there saying, what should I do next? Should I rebuild the original engine? It will be relatively hard to actually get parts for that engine, or do we do some sort of, you know, LS swap, something like that? Now, actually delving into the whole LS thing, you're looking at about £13,000 to get one, well, the one I want especially, in that car, running and driving at the moment, because of, you know, import taxes, Brexit, I don't know, everything, the virus, all that sort of stuff. Engines are incredibly expensive, postage is incredibly expensive, import duties, all that sort of stuff, and I can't find one in the UK. It's really bugging me, if I'm honest. Since that video went up, I sort of said to myself, do you know what, I don't mind trying to part with some cash to actually get one of these engines in this car. Then after looking at them and realizing that, you know, they've doubled in price, if not tripled in price over the last couple of years since I, you know, last looked at them when I owned that car. It's such a shame really, because I'd like to put some sort of new age engine in that. But what it's looking like is that I'm actually going to rebuild the original engine. Now, finding parts is going to be hard, don't get me wrong, but what I've asked the guys at Advanced Automotive is to actually break down that car and see what we can find that needs replacing. So I have a list of stuff to replace already, but going further into the engine, just breaking down, you know, pistons, various other things, and actually finding out what else is needed. That's the plan. Then if I can get all of those parts, we will then go in on building that thing. If not, I will just try and find, you know, another V8 from the same sort of era with a gearbox to put in for a couple of years while I watch the LS prices maybe increase or decrease, or some other engine comes up. But yeah, other than that, we are just sort of waiting for that engine to be stripped down, and then we can go from there on what parts we can find. The little ST150, the car that I bought really to do a series on, just getting it back to a nice looking car. Really, it's completely washed down and everything. I won't show you too much on this because there will be more episodes coming on this car, but as it stands at the moment, it's pretty much done, which is a really good turnaround, or at least a short time scale for this car to actually sit and then, you know, be recommissioned in theory back to its original and relatively nice stature, which is fantastic. Plans for this car are coming up very soon, but as it stands at the moment, this car is just a fantastic little car. We've got a few things to come, like the wheel centers just there, new badges, and various other little bits and bobs, but you'll see that in the episodes of this car coming up very soon. But as it stands, that's staying for a little bit longer, but we have a plan. Lastly though, the elephant in the room. If you guys have followed me on Instagram, if not, don't follow me on Instagram, JamieFYD, you will know that it is the 2-year anniversary of this car being in my ownership. The plucky little 106 GTI that I picked up off a driveway for about £1,000 at the time, completely rotten, needed a respray, needed the engine rebuilding because the head gasket had got. You guys have maybe seen 41 or 42 videos over the last 2 years of us actually rebuilding this thing, and as you can see, it's here. It's actually MOT'd now as this video goes out, because the MOT is tomorrow. And if you guys haven't seen it on Instagram, I think it's time to part ways with this thing. And I know that there's going to be a barrage of comments saying, what are you doing? They're going up in price. This is fantastic. This is the car you wanted, blah, blah, blah. I also have another car that I've always wanted. I also have another car I've always wanted. And I also have the Cadillac. Now, to replace any of those cars is going to be genuinely hard. That's hard. This is too new. The Cadillac's never going anywhere. So to replace something or bring something new that's got some sort of value, like a Series 1 RS Turbo, something has to go in its place. And unfortunately, I have decided, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, I've decided to sell this in the not so distant future. So we've got tyres to go on it, MOT, we've got a few bits to do underneath. That's all coming up as content on the channel. Just as a final send-off, it's not for sale straight away. I'm not going to disclose prices and all that sort of stuff because I don't want the world for it, but I would at least like some sort of money back on the huge investment that I've put into this car, respraying it, doing all the rust, building the engine back up, various things that we've put on this thing. I am heavily invested in this car, and that's not a reason to sell, but I think I've really got to the point now where Jamie, 18-year-old Jamie especially, is really happy with his ownership of this car, and I've driven it more off camera than I have on camera. At the end of the day, I just think replacing this with a Japanese car especially is the way I want to go. I haven't had a Japanese car for a very long time, and I think it's time. Prices are going crazy on everything, and it means that one of these cars has to be, for sale. It has to go to actually be replaced and bring another car onto the driveway, and I think this is where I'm at. It's gonna have to go to be replaced with something Japanese. Now I get it, there's going to be loads of people in the comment section, you've done all that work and I haven't seen any content and blah blah. I've actually driven this, or at least daily driven this, for most of pre-lockdown or post-lockdown, whenever the lockdown was, and then I've actually been driving it, here and there as well. Since it had an MOT on it, I drove it, and then it's come out of MOT, I sort of tucked it away because we were respraying this, I was buying this, we were splitting the Cadillac engine down, and then subsequently buying the Fiesta. This is then sat here, and I've just been saving for tyres, for, the ball joints underneath I want to do, for MOT related stuff, just to make sure it's completely mint. And then we're going to put a polisher over it, which again costs, money. So I'm going to be invested in it again before it actually sells. And then, yeah, I'll put it up for sale, and it was literally going to go to the first person that wants it. I think someone's going to really get a really nice cracking car, and they're going to get something that is, again, going up in price. These have gone from, yes, I pay £1,000 for it, but I am 8 times that invested in this, in labour, parts, everything. So this car holds me in a lot of money at the moment. That isn't a reason to sell it, don't get me wrong, but I just think that money, this money sat in this car, could be put together with some other savings, and we could go in on a Japanese car. Let me know below what you think it should replace it with Japanese wise though. I want a Japanese car next, some classic 80s or 90s, maybe 2000s, I'm not too sure, classic, or at least modern classic Japanese car to replace the 106. But for now, we're going to do a few bits to it. You'll see more content on it, but this is the next one on the chopping block to make way for something else. Again, I try to be as transparent as possible with people, and I know there's going to be people in the comments giving it the big one, saying I'm a horrible person for selling cars, but I replaced the Dodge pickup with a Series 1. So if we can replace this with something of the same caliper as this, but Japanese, do you see where I'm going with this now? Do you see how this channel works, and you see what is going on in the background, and why I own cars like this for an extended period of time, and then I decide to cut it? A 2-year ownership is a good shout for a little 106 GTI. We've done so much with it, and I'm really happy to sort of fulfill what I wanted to do with this car and enjoy it off camera especially. I've really enjoyed this car, not necessarily on camera, but yeah, 106 GTI is going in around 2 to 3 months time, so the start of next year. But on that bombshell, as they would say on Top Gear, thank you so much for watching. If you did like this video, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, leave a comment below, what should I replace the 106 with, and August time, what should I replace the M4 with? Let me know in the comments, what content do you want to see, and I'll see you all on the next one.